violence or no other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
A Sweet 16 birthday celebration in North Philadelphia ended with gun violence. Someone firing more than 20 bullets into a home, critically injuring a 17-year-old girl inside.
Man, and this is not the first video that we've done on these super gremlins throwing a party, inviting women, and then shooting the women. It's like, I mean, dudes don't even want to date chicks no more. We don't even want to, mac on them, take things steady anymore. Like, you just want to shoot them. So I'm telling you, ladies, that you're going to have to get on your own form of protection, all right? You're going to have to start carrying. You're going to have to start doing something, because these dudes are not afraid to shoot women. And I'm not saying that they were aiming for them necessarily, but in general, it's crazy how this has become normalized, and these stories like this are just being brushed under the rug.
Police say this all unfolded just after midnight after someone called one of the partygoers and warned that person to get out of the house, which was rented through Airbnb. A short time later, while 10 teens were inside.
Well, so you heard it. They were warned to leave the house. You know that you can't really tell super gremlins to do anything. And it is what it is. That's the game. But they were told to leave the house. They didn't take heed to the warning, and it went all downhill from there. And that's my thing. They knew who they were dealing with when they threw this party and who they invited to this party. A lot of these dudes are street cats, are shooters, okay?
Just after midnight after someone called one of the partygoers and warned that person to get out of the house, which was rented through Airbnb. A short time later, while 10 teens were inside, gunfire tore through the house on the 1600 block of Ontario Street. Police say the injured 17-year-old was shot in the back. So far, it's not clear who fired the shots or why.
A late-night walk turned deadly for a young woman from our area. The tragedy was compounded by the fact that it took several days before the family even found out what happened to her. Now her family has added to the reward for information, leading to an arrest and a conviction in this case. Here is Rick Williams with tonight's Crime Fighters Report.
Vanessa Nobles describes her daughter, 32-year-old Ruth Anna Nobles, as a giving person.
She was a very thoughtful person, and she would do anything for anybody. You didn't have to ask her for help.
This is a damn shame, man. It's a shame. We all know who did this. This wasn't no KKK. This wasn't Joe Rogan saying the N-word and influenced a group of white supremacists to do this. No. I was just on the Lapeef Network, and shout out to the Lapeef Network. But I was just on there, and we were having a debate about the N-word, and I have a show premiering about that later on today. But it was so funny that a lot of the panelists don't even understand the issues that we have in the community, and they're never being addressed. We have this conversation about women and the gender war and all this stuff, but there's a bigger war going on, and it's right here in these streets.
Wednesday, April 7th of last year, Vanessa says Ruth went out to take a walk. She says she left sometime after 1:30 a.m. Her family is not clear where she was going or if she met up with a friend.
And it is not a good idea to go out, I would say, past 9 p.m. after dark in Philadelphia, because it's murder town out there.
They became concerned when Ruth didn't come home. Several days went by before a family member finally called the medical examiner.
Oh, they said, well, we have someone here that fits that description, and they sent a picture, and it was her.
Ruth had been found just before 4 a.m. on April 7th. She'd been shot twice along the 1000 block of West Hunting Park Avenue in Hunting Park, just 2 miles from her home along the 3000 block of North Sydenham Street. She was taken to the hospital where she died a short time later. Vanessa says Ruth took her purse with her, but it wasn't found with her body. With no identification on her, her body was left in the morgue until April 15th.
Woo! I mean, it sounds like a robbery. They couldn't identify the body, and that's very sad. Man, it's countless women being killed by these super gremlins. And this is just cowardly behavior that isn't being addressed.
When her family called. Through the Citizens Crime Commission, the family is offering a $30,000 reward in addition to the $20,000 being offered by the city of Philadelphia for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of the person responsible. That's a possible reward of up to $50,000. All you have to do is call 215-546-TIPS.
And anybody who calls that number will be deemed as a Uncle Tom Coon sellout snitch rat in the community. So we have so many different it's like in the community we have so many different factors that enable the criminal element of the community. Okay, when I speak about super gremlins, obviously I'm not speaking about all people in the community, because there are some dynamic people in the community who are tired of this stuff and they want better for our people. And then there is that element that is upheld and glorified and deicized, if you will. I mean, look at all of the slain rappers. Most of those dudes were thugs. They had a history of criminality, violence, and I'm not saying that you can't change, but a lot of these dudes were still involved in that lifestyle when they were slain, okay? And it just shows like how we deify these guys, and we still, and I love Pac and Big and all that kind of stuff, but we still have these dudes on a pedestal as one of the greatest black men to ever have lived, and we just undermine the people who are doing the right thing, and it's a tragedy.
All calls will remain anonymous.
We miss her so much. We want whoever have any information to please call and give any kind of tip or lead.
For Crime Fighters, I'm Rick Williams for Action News at 10 on PHL 17.
Police arrested 2 teenagers accused in a series of armed carjackings and Wawa robberies. The suspects are only 14 and 18 years of age. Action News reporter Katie Catro joins us live from police headquarters with details about the arrest. Katie.
Walter, police say 2 alert police officers recognized a car at the center of a theft investigation. Thankfully, tonight, those 2 teens that were once considered armed and dangerous are now behind bars.
We believe that these 2 suspects have been involved in several carjackings as well as multiple robberies of various convenience stores in the area as well.
Just before 8 p.m., police spotted a car believed to be involved in previous carjackings and several Wawa robberies caught on surveillance video in Upper Darby.
Y'all see the Pooh Shiesty mask? The Pooh Shiesty mask, I'm telling you. These Pooh Shiesty masks have become a tool to continue to do this kind of stuff. And we know Philadelphia is pretty much in shambles, right? But this is happening all over the country. You can go to my page and you can see the same thing, the same issues happening all over the country.
The 2 teenagers inside the car also matched the descriptions of the people wanted in those crimes. Police pulled the car over in Spring Garden at Broad and Wallace. The 14-year-old passenger and 18-year-old driver were both armed, according to police, and ran from the vehicle. Officers chased and arrested the 14-year-old and recovered his gun. The 18-year-old ran inside a home at 13th and Wallace. That's when SWAT got involved, gaining entry entry and arresting the 18-year-old. They are now waiting on a warrant to search the home to find his gun.
These two arrests are the result of cooperation between the Philadelphia Police Department and also neighboring agencies.
Detectives are now working to determine if those two teens are connected to any other carjackings or robberies. Reporting live at police headquarters, Katie Catro, Channel 6, Action News. Walter?
All right, thank you, Kate.
Yeah, Francis, police tell us this happened in an area where drag racing is typical, and this argument escalated. It started verbally, then physically, and then turned really violent when someone pulled out a gun.
Uh-oh. So we got the biker boys, or the biker gremlins, rather. See, this is why I don't like the skate park argument. Every black community should have a skate park and a bike park where we can go and just do this and do that. Look, if you do that, that is just going to change the location of where the shootings happen. Now, maybe a 3-year-old may not be in the vicinity of that skate park community, and maybe they will be. Most likely they will be, though, because you know they're going to put that skate park right next to the hood, just like they be building these basketball courts and all that kind of stuff. I know y'all guys saw the Breonna Taylor basketball court, but they put them in areas where it's in reachable proximity to the community. So if you have a group of street racers and whatnot, and people have this perception of the people involved in these street racers, oh, it's just like some, gnarly white dudes and maybe some Tokyo Drift thrown up in there. But a lot of times it's dudes on dirt bikes, ATVs, and these super gremlins don't have any care for anyone's safety, okay? They're in the middle of the street. They'll jump on your car and bang your windows out if you honk at them, as we've seen examples in New York. I know you guys saw the video that I did on the MLK Day, guns down, bikes up, or whatever the movement was in Miami, where, multiple people end up getting arrested and speeding and crashing out and shootings happen. So when we try and organize these dangerous and pretty much illegal activities, it ends in mayhem, and in this case we have a 3-year-old shot.
Police say this happened overnight around 12:15 in the morning at a Jiffy Lube. They say a verbal argument turned physical, and that's when one of the tow truck drivers went back to his truck, pulled out a handgun, and started firing in the direction of the other truck. The 3-year-old was in that truck, and he was hit in the leg by a bullet that went through the door. This is the 16th child so far shot in the city this year, and police say they have an idea of who the shooter might be, but at this point, he's still on the run.
At this point, we're looking for a black truck with tinted windows. It has a tow hitch underneath it. It has no markings on it. It's occupied by a solo Hispanic male who we believe is our shooter at this point.
Uh-oh. So it's a burrito gremlin. Burrito gremlin, man. Gotcha. And it's tough out here, man. It's tough out here. And I told you guys I was going to be doing more stories on these burrito gremlins, and we got one. Hopefully we can get an identification on this guy, but he might be in the wind, might have been in a stolen car, who knows.
And that 3-year-old is recovering this morning. He's in stable condition. Live in Center City, Lauren Winfrey, NBC 10 News.
Breaking news from overnight now. A 3-year-old child is in the hospital today after being shot in Port Richmond. Eyewitness News reporter Wakeisha Bailey is live at police headquarters for us this morning. Wakeisha, what's the latest from police?
Yeah, good morning, Jan. Very disturbing story here. This 3-year-old was shot as a result of 2 adults arguing. Police say that they are now looking for the shooter, but they do need the public's help. Now, police say that overnight they received reports of gunshots near Armango Avenue in Port Richmond, a location known for drag car racing. Now, in the nearby Jiffy Lube parking lot, police say 2 tow truck drivers got into an argument. One of the individuals goes back to his tow truck, gets a handgun, then begins firing shots. And
dang, man. I mean, And the process of getting in an argument, going back to your truck, and pulling out a weapon, that's forethought in all this. And a lot of these dudes, burrito gremlins, they're not in control of their emotions. And we got that machismo thing going on as well. So it's it's almost impossible to stop things like this, because dudes are going to get into disagreements and arguments with each other. And that's the way that, you know, that's the way that a lot of these issues are solved. It's no more fighting.
The direction of the other tow truck.
Inside the truck was a 3-year-old child. 3 bullets went through the door. The child was struck in the right leg. The tow truck fled the scene. Went to Episcopal Hospital initially, and the 3-year-old was transferred over to St. Chris Hospital. He's currently in stable condition.
And police tell CBS 3 they are looking for a black truck with tinted windows and a tow hitch underneath. There are no markings on the truck. Now, the good news here is that child is expected to be okay. Meanwhile, anyone with any information, you're asked to call police. Reporting from outside of police headquarters, Waukesha Bailey, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Let's hope someone comes forward. Waukesha, absolutely senseless. Thanks so much.
Developing this morning, a 3-year-old boy is recovering from a gunshot wound after getting caught in the crossfire of a dispute between 2 tow truck drivers. The shooter is still wanted by police. Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson is live on the scene, the 3600 block of Aramingo Avenue. Becca, still so many questions here. What can you tell us?
Nydia, a lot of questions that need to be answered. First of all, what led to this fight and why did the suspects start shooting? It all happened at the Jiffy Lube parking lot behind me on Aramingo Avenue. That innocent 3-year-old caught in the crossfire, now in the hospital, thankfully in stable condition. Workers at this Jiffy Lube, though, say they see tow truck drivers sitting in their parking lot every night. Take a look at our video. Police say it happened just after midnight at this Jiffy Lube on the 3600 block of Aramingo Avenue. It's a busy shopping and business strip in Port Richmond. Investigators say the tow truck drivers had been arguing, then started fighting, and one of them started shooting. The suspect shot at the other truck and hit the child inside.
Dang. And it looks like these tow truck drivers congregate at this Jiffy Lube, like he said, every night. So, well, I mean, what can you do about this? Can you maybe put cones in the parking lot so after, you know, the Jiffy Lube closes, they can't get in there? Obviously, they'll move them, or they could move them. It's just, it's crazy that you have to go through these precautions to stop these burrito gremlins on demon time.
The 3-year-old was shot in the leg and was initially taken to Episcopal Hospital in the truck where he was shot, then transferred to St. Christopher's. Now police are hoping that you can help them find the shooter.
At this point, we're looking for a black truck with tinted windows. It has a tow hitch underneath it. It has no markings on it. It's occupied by a solo Hispanic male who we believe is our shooter at this point. But we're fortunate the child is in stable condition.
Now, there is surveillance video of this incident. According to investigators, the folks over at Jiffy Lube told me they have video. They should have video of this. Police will be checking that out. Live in Port Richmond, Becca Hendrickson, Channel 6 Action News. Nydia.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.